Fashion in world building. It's something I like to always dwell upon, think about. It's something I like to always include. Whether it's a historical setting, but especially when it's not. Why? Because we can have, as with history, we can have in our world building, in our different world that has nothing pretty much to do with Earth, we can have fashion do what it always did, and that's be associated with certain people, certain customs, certain periods, certain uses, certain language of, well, it's like body language, of implications, of ideas, of what people wanted to do, what they didn't, what they wanted to represent, what they didn't, symbolism, of course, everywhere, and all that extreme mystical glamour that we can get from high fantasy and fashion combined. All of that I always loved, and how you do it in world building for your tabletop campaign or book or whatever it is, RPG, whatever you're making, you reinforce what fashion does what with descriptions. You keep saying this means that means this when describing fashion. In brief, non-volume taking bursts, and it'll stick eventually. But you keep re-mentioning it because you can build on it. When a person from a certain order does a bit more on top of their order's fashion, then you can elaborate on why and how. Does that make them the commander? Does that make them more eccentric? Does that make them less eccentric in some way? Does that make them feel this, think that, want to signalize or symbolize this or that? It's always good in visual and narrative design. You can always see it in comics, you can always see it in everywhere, really. And it really speaks to readers and players, where even if they don't know the theory behind it, they immediately go and say, oh, this character is important, this character will do this character is an edgy loner, look at his belts. That's, at the simplest, what happens, even if that sort of fashion isn't very much used here in this world. As long as you reinforce it specifically enough, it will be a reference point for your players in that world you're world building, the other world that you will be presenting to them. So, adventure, if you thought this was unique or useful, maybe you can spare me a click and I could see you here next or even perhaps every week, because every week I have more such things for you. I make them myself. So, I'm Em, and welcome to dMTable. See you next time.